So the NFL draft is tomorrow night, and I am absolutely fascinated with this year's quarterback draft class. It seems like there's a lot of unknown, like there is every single year, but this year in specific, there is so much unknown with this year's quarterback draft class. It seems like the only thing that we truly do know is that the Tennessee Titans are going to select Cam Ward with the number 1 overall pick. I think that's pretty obvious to everybody as of right now. But then you get to this second tier of quarterbacks. That's Shedeur Sanders and Jaxson Dart. Do they stay in the first round or do they fall to the second round? Then you have another tier of quarterbacks where you have Jalen Milroe, Will Howard, Quinn Ewers, guys of that nature that are going to be second rounders to third rounders. Which teams want to take a chance on one of those guys to maybe potentially find a diamond in the rough? And that's exactly how I feel about this quarterback draft class. A lot of people are very quick to write it off, but I definitely feel that you're going to have a few diamonds in the rough when it comes down to the 2025 NFL draft class. Now, the point of this video is I'm going to be breaking down kind of the big time quarterback prospects, where I believe they will go, maybe some teams that'll get curious about some of these other quarterbacks that aren't very highly thought of. So let's hop right into it right now. Like I said earlier in the video, the number 1 overall pick, it's very obvious right now. It'll be Cam Ward out of Miami. The 6'2", 225-pound quarterback lit it up last year in Miami, and now he will be the Tennessee Titans quarterback, their franchise guy. They feel very comfortable here taking him at number 1. I really haven't seen one thing that would make me think otherwise, that he would not end up in Tennessee. It's widely believed around league circles that Ward will end up in Tennessee, and I like this pick here for Tennessee with the first overall pick. I think Cam Ward has a ton of experience in college, played 5 seasons. Now, maybe you want to knock him for that. I think this is kind of the new wave that we're seeing with quarterbacks. If it doesn't work in the first 3 years, instead of saying, hey, I want to head to the draft right away, you stay a little bit longer, you develop a little bit more. And that's what we saw with Jaden Daniels, who stayed in college longer. You saw this with Bo Nix, who also stayed in college for a little bit longer. And both of those guys lit it up last year. Jaden Daniels won the Offensive Rookie of the Year. So that's what I'm looking at with this opportunity with Cam Ward and the Tennessee Titans. He brings a ton of experience to the table, and I love this fit for him. He will absolutely be the number 1 overall pick. Now, this is when the NFL draft gets really fun, the uncertainty and the unknown as we head into Thursday. If you remember last year, the Falcons took Michael Penix Jr. in the first round after signing Kirk Cousins to a massive contract. They'd end up starting him. We all know how that story goes. The point I'm trying to make here is that a lot of unknown comes with the NFL draft, and I believe we're going to see that with both Shedeur and Jaxson Dart. Right now, I have a gut feeling that one of two teams is going to take Jaxson Dart. I believe it'll either be the New York Giants or the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, there's been a lot of rumors and kind of this whole narrative that's been gaining a lot of steam is that he's going to fall in the NFL draft. We all know that the Giants have the 3rd overall pick. They're going to have guys like Abdul Carter, potentially Travis Hunter, that are going to be available with the 3rd overall pick. Do they go with positional value, best player available, or do they go with a quarterback that's going to try and save Brian Dable's job? For the New York Giants, it seems like it's kind of a 50-50 coin flip right now. On one hand, you have Joe Schoen, the general manager, who really likes Shedeur Sanders and wants them to go quarterback. And then on the other hand, you have Brian Dable, who doesn't necessarily love him and wants them to just go kind of the best player available with the number 3 overall pick. So I don't ultimately think they're going to go Shedeur at number 3, although I could absolutely see them trading up later in the first round to try and go get him. But it seems like they're going to go with positional value, which is interesting because for the New York Giants and for Brian Dable, after winning 3 games last season, both of these guys have a insanely hot seat right now. And if things don't turn around this season, they're going to end up getting fired. So this is a big time draft for them. I don't believe that they're going to go into the season with Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, and Tommy DeVito, one of those 3 guys as a starting quarterback. Now for Shedeur Sanders, where does he end up? A lot of people have been speculating that he's not a top 10 pick. You had a coach yesterday that believes that he's not good at anything, which I believe is an insane overreaction. But where does he fall in this year's draft? It seems like the Pittsburgh Steelers and Mike Tomlin specifically love Shedeur Sanders. They had a very long meeting a few weeks ago that apparently went great. And Mike Tomlin really likes what he's seeing out of Shedeur Sanders, and they need a quarterback. They have an opening. Aaron Rodgers still hasn't made his decision on whether he'll come back and play or not. They made this big-time trade to go get DK Metcalf, pairing him up with George Pickens. You have Pat Freiermuth, who's an absolute stud. Now you need the quarterback. Do they go out and get Shedeur Sanders with the 21st pick? I believe that they do. I believe that the Steelers will go out and get Shedeur Sanders and make him their franchise quarterback. Now, the next quarterback that I believe will be a first-round draft pick is Jaxson Dart. He is my second favorite quarterback right behind Cam Ward. I think this dude is an absolute stud. He's tough as nails, can make any throw on the football field. And the major knock on him was that he was in this very easy offense that Lane Kiffin ran, where he was just checking the ball down a lot and he was really getting that completion percentage up. But if you truly watch the film, Jaxson Dart is an absolute baller, and I believe that he'll go in the first round. Now, Shedeur Sanders is going to the Steelers at 21. Now we're looking at the back half of the first round of the draft as the potential landing spot for Jaxson Dart. I don't think that the Saints are going to take a quarterback at 9 here, even though Derek Carr had that weird injury. He's probably going to be out for the year. I think the Saints are going to get a quarterback later on in the draft. I don't think they're going to use a top 10 pick on Jaxson Dart. That leaves the New York Giants, who, if you remember, aren't sold on Shedeur Sanders. Brian Daboll, quote unquote, loves Jaxson Dart. He loves his toughness. He thinks he's going to be a stud. I could absolutely see the New York Giants trading back into the first round to go get their quarterback, to go get the guy that's going to save Daboll and Joe Shane's job. They are going to take Jaxson Dart, in my opinion, at the end of the first round. Let's not forget Brian Daboll turned around Josh Allen's career. The pitch for Daboll is, hey, give me Jaxson Dart, a guy that's tough as nails, can make any throw on the football field. I want him to be the next franchise quarterback. Keep me around for a little bit longer. This is the pitch for Brian Daboll and for the New York Giants. I believe that Jaxson Dart will be selected at the end of the first round to the New York Giants, making 3 quarterbacks taken in the first round. So now we have 3 quarterbacks off the board for teams that we know needed a quarterback heading into next year. The Giants will absolutely take a quarterback. The Steelers will absolutely take a quarterback, and obviously Tennessee is going to go out and get a quarterback as well. And as I went through every team trying to evaluate who I believe they'll take in this year's draft, I had a list. Okay, these 3 teams will for sure take a quarterback in the first round. You can maybe throw the Saints in there with the whole Derek Carr thing. So that makes 4 teams. 3 of those teams now have a quarterback. Then you have this tier B list of teams that could take a quarterback outside of the first round, taking a chance on a diamond in the rough, like a Quinn Ewers, like a Jalen Milroe, Tyler Shuck, etc. Let's hop into those teams now. Now, the first team that I believe will take a quarterback outside of the first round is the New Orleans Saints. With this whole Derek Carr injury, they're in the market for a quarterback. His status is up in the air for next season. I would not be surprised if they took a guy in the second round and on. Now, the next team that I really thought was going to take a quarterback earlier on in this whole process was the Cleveland Browns. With this whole situation of Deshaun not playing the entire season, now they have Kenny Pickett. Will they go get Kirk Cousins? I think they're going to get a rookie quarterback to put on this roster as we head into next season. Now, I thought that they were going to maybe take Shedeur at number 2 a few weeks ago. Now, everything has completely changed. I think they're going to go out and get a quarterback later in the second round, third round, and on. And then you have the New York Jets. They're kind of in an interesting situation as well. They signed Justin Fields after moving on from Aaron Rodgers to a 2-year contract. Will they try and find a rookie quarterback if things don't go well with Fields right away? I don't think this team has the time now with Aaron Glenn as the new coach, with Garrett Wilson kind of frustrated with this whole quarterback situation. They don't have the time to take a chance on Justin Fields for 2 years. I think if things go south with him quickly, they're going to have a backup plan, and that's going to be a quarterback that they take in the second round and on. Now, this team may be a little bit of a surprise to you, but I believe that the Seattle Seahawks could definitely be in the market for a quarterback. I know they signed Sam Darnold to a pretty hefty contract in free agency, but why couldn't this team, if they are high on a Quinn Ewers or a Jalen Milroe or a Tyler Shuck or a Will Howard, why couldn't they spend a 3rd or 4th round pick on one of these guys just to have a backup for Sam Darnold, just in case things don't go well? Because we've seen it not go well in the past for Darnold. He was in a great situation in Minnesota. This Seahawks team does not look as good as they did last year, and this is going to be a lot more Sam Darnold. Hey, take us to the promised land here. You don't have Justin Jefferson. You don't have Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, and even Kevin O'Connell. It's just Jackson Smith and Jigba and Cooper Kupp. You got Kenneth Walker too, but You get the point I'm trying to make here. I would not be surprised if they took a quarterback just to have a backup plan. Just a backup plan. That's all I'm saying. Now, the final team here that I absolutely believe will take a quarterback, and it might be kind of a sleeper, but I believe that the Los Angeles Rams will try and draft the next successor to Matthew Stafford in this year's draft class. I believe that Sean McVay is going to try and find a quarterback in the third, fourth, maybe even the fifth round that he is in love with, a guy that he can work with, a guy like a Quinn Ewers who has a slinky arm that can make a lot of throws and is very good in the play action game and has to be in a good system. And when he's in a good system, he can really get involved in this offense and really thrive in an offense like what Sean McVay can bring to the table. And I broke down Quinn Ewers. I actually thought that the Rams would draft him. I really like this situation for Ewers and what the Rams can offer him. I would not be surprised if the Rams draft the next successor to Matthew Stafford. As I go through this entire quarterback draft class with the Cam Wards of the world, with the Darts, the Shedeurs, etc., I believe that we are going to find a few diamonds in the rough, to be quite honest with you, whether Shedeur Sanders falls to the second round or whether Jaxson Dart fizzles out. I think you're going to have this tier B group with Ewers, with Milroe, with Howard, with Shuck, etc. One or two of those guys is going to be a diamond in the rough and is going to be very successful in the NFL. I can already feel it. I like what this group can bring. I love a guy like Will Howard, who's 6'5", who's mobile, doesn't have the strongest arm in the world, but just led a team to win a national championship. Quinn Ewers was viewed as a automatic first round pick and was super banged up this entire season, but has really been good in college. And if he gets a year or two to develop underneath a Matthew Stafford, I think he could be very successful. I think that's what you're looking at in this year's draft class. Even Jalen Milroe, people are saying that he's the best runner of the football they've ever seen, better than Lamar Jackson, better than Cam Newton. He hasn't even played a snap in the NFL. That's the type of praise he's already getting. And that's what you could see from this tier B group of quarterbacks. But let me know down in the comments. I'm really curious what quarterback you guys believe will be the biggest diamond in the rough in this year's draft class. I'm Caden Kubler, and thank you guys for watching.